And here we are, DC's KO KnightFight, issues 1 out of 4. Written by Joshua Williamson, art by Dan Moore. The issue opens with Bruce running across the rooftops of Gotham, in pursuit of Professor Pig and the Circus of Strange. Bruce reflects on his time as Batman, and how along with the physical strain of that, and age, have worn him down. But nonetheless, he must push forward. Continuing to push, Bruce is in hopes that he can make it in time. And as he starts to realize that he won't, he also realizes that it's not in the way that he thinks. Bruce arrives to the scene to see that the situation has already been taken care of, with Professor Pig apprehended and the hostages saved by Nightwing, Red Hood, Tim Drake's Robin, and Damian, with them reassuring Bruce that everything is taken care of and watching them at work together. Bruce begins to ponder the question: does Gotham still need a Batman? Fast forward to DC's KO tournament, where Bruce seemingly meets his end at the hands of the Joker. Preparing for the worst, Bruce will outfit his costume with boom tube technology before entering the tournament. A boom tube that will be used to teleport him back to Earth should he be inactive for too long. And just as planned, Bruce is teleported from the tournament and back to Gotham City. Only difference is, it is not his Gotham. Quickly realizing this, Bruce attempts to make a call to the Watchtower for assistance. And it is at this moment that Bruce gets attacked by an object that he's all too familiar with: a Batarang. And what happens next takes him even more by surprise. Bruce comes face to face with his attackers. Attackers fully fitted in tactical Robin gear. Referring to him as the Bat who fell, the team launches their full-on assault against Bruce. Carefully observing them during their battle, Bruce is quickly able to deduce one thing: they're trained, and trained well, all with a skill set similar to someone that he knows. And his theory will prove correct, as Bruce will come face to face with their team's leader. Their leader being none other than the Batman of this Gotham City, aka Dick Grayson, the first Robin, who will later go on to become Nightwing. Bruce attempts to question Dick, asking about the tournament and who defeated Darkseid. But Dick, who has no idea what Bruce is talking about, reveals that the Bruce that he knows threw himself into the Lazarus pit after rejecting the idea of giving up Batman once realized that his body was wearing down on him. And in doing so, drove him crazy, just as it did Raish, Talia, Jason, and Selina. And after being subdued, Dick directs Bruce's attention toward what he's created during his time of being Batman, at what is standing tall at the center of his newly reformed Gotham, the Bat Tower, with an established support system that reaches far, even beyond Gotham, members of the Teen Titans that are taking in and training the next generation of heroes, assuring Bruce that his legacy was continued in a proper way by doing what he couldn't, trusting others. And with the removal of his mask, we see a visibly older version of Dick Grayson, requesting one thing and one thing only: for Bruce to allow his legacy to continue with him. "This is not you," says Bruce. Floored at that statement, Dick questions Bruce on even if he knows who he is, to which Bruce further explains that this wasn't the life that he wanted for Dick. He did not want Dick to bear the burden of being Batman, that his identity as Nightwing was his escape from that burden, and he preferred that he kept it that way. But Dick doesn't believe that, believing that the only true reason that Bruce never gave up being Batman was because deep down he knew without it, he was nothing. Acknowledging the fact that that could be true, Bruce is still aware that this entire situation is wrong and that he must get to the bottom of it. But Dick, still convinced that this is all an delusion for Bruce, warns him not to leave, or else. To which Bruce responds in full guard, "Did you forget who trained you?" And Dick, with a scream in hand, "I've beaten you before, old man." And with no more words being spoken, the two begin round 2. The two face off. No interference, no interruptions. The original, the successor. Even in the midst of combat, Bruce can't help but admire the skills of Dick. The clear difference in both of their fighting styles. Bruce, with his fast pace and hard style, and Dick, who's fluid and graceful. Coupling all that with his added years of experience as Batman, it was clear to see who had the upper hand in this fight. And with one final blow, it is Dick who stands tall over Bruce. Standing over Bruce, Dick tells him that he has become a better Batman, and did so by trusting people and not leading with fear, the complete opposite of Bruce. He gives Bruce one last chance to listen to reason before threatening to throw him into Arkham and lose the key. He tells Bruce that it is okay, that he has completed his mission, and that Gotham doesn't need him anymore. But as Dick is talking, Bruce receives a ping from the mother box in his armor. And with that conclusion, Bruce gets a feeling that he knows what he has to do, and he tries to explain this to Dick. But he still wants to hear no parts of it. With one last demand to fight him, Bruce charges at Dick, but is quickly subdued. And during this, he asks Dick a question. If you're Batman, then where are your brothers? Where's Jason, Tim, and Damian? Don't you remember? Says Dick. You let your fear of us replacing you drive you insane long before you went into the Lazarus pit. You said there can only be one Batman. There can only be you. They're not here. Because you killed them.